Your tax dollars go to a lot of things. One of those being safety nets for society, right? It's food assistance, it's utility assistance, it's a whole host of different programs meant to help people when they need it the most. And one particular program that's been the focus of a lot of people on all sides of the issue is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And should fraud be rooted out so it can be secure and given to those who need it most? And how do you go about rooting out that fraud? Well, apparently there's debate about that now. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us here each and every weekday morning for more, and get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. Just click newsletter and you can follow through and stay up to date with what's going on, not just in Illinois, but across the country. So yesterday, you had Governor J.B. Pritzker at an unrelated event announcing Illinois 250 USA celebrations. So America's turning 250 years old next year, and Illinois is going to play a role in a whole host of things, from highlighting Illinois' history in the United States. And yesterday, by the way, was Illinois' birthday. It was I can't remember which year it was, but 1818 is when Illinois became a state on December 3rd. Anyways, so the governor held an unrelated event talking about all the events and things that are going to be happening. But he was also asked about Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program funding, especially on the heels of Brooke Rollins, the USDA secretary, sharing this with President Donald Trump on Tuesday.
Very much a part of the national conversation during the Democrat shutdown was SNAP reform, food stamp reform. When all of America saw what so many of us know and have been working on, but when you have so much rampant fraud in a program that 42 million Americans participate in, now a big good piece of news that I hope is written about, since you became president, about 800,000 of those 42 million have moved off of food stamps, which is hopefully the plan, with better jobs, higher wages, etc. But still, when we found 186,000 dead people's Social Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states, and that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back,
all right, mute, unmute. Okay, so there you go. The button was sticking. So Rollins saying that they're going to start withholding these funds from states that don't cooperate. And that's cooperation coming from Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker was asked about it yesterday, again, at that unrelated event. Here he is saying that the federal government's trying to weaponize food.
The truth is that the administration does not have the ability to do this. And I think it's reprehensible to use food and food insecurity as a weapon to try to effectuate a policy that is completely unrelated to it. Look, as you know, they've been gathering databases that are, people should deserve privacy, right? Whether they're a SNAP recipient or not, it should not be information that gets gathered by and then disseminated by the federal government. But you know, we're obviously following all the rules around SNAP. We always have. Nothing that they're requesting would reveal anything that's untoward about the program. And again, this is all about effectuating a policy that's bad for the United States, bad for the state of Illinois. All we're trying to do is feed people, and everybody in the United States deserves to have a decent 3 squares a day. And SNAP is really not very much money to provide to people. I don't know why they're going after this program. You want to go after fraud, I mean real fraud. There are lots of people who are Medicaid providers, Medicare providers out there that the federal government should be looking into to ask, what kind of fraud that they're perpetrating. And indeed, that kind of fraud gets exposed every once in a while. But it seems to me they've taken people off of that job, out of the FBI and then other jobs like the DEA and ATF, all to move them over into immigration work that is ineffectual, inappropriate. We need comprehensive immigration reform, not hunting people down based upon the color of their skin. So I reject the idea that the federal government is doing something that's good for the country by gathering these databases, because we know that's not what it's all about.
So the governor seeming to not want to comply with federal law. I mean, it's federal law that they have to turn over this data. And they're going to start withholding funds from Illinois if Illinois doesn't cooperate. Now, how much are we talking about in Illinois? In fiscal year 2024, the federal government's fiscal year, Illinois got more than $4 billion from federal taxpayers to give SNAP benefits to 1.9 million people in the state of Illinois. And our error rate on those payments was 11.5%. And 10+% of that was, again, mostly it was overpayments. And who's that money going to? You heard Brooke Rollins say that they're getting information from Republican-led states that's allowing them to find and suss out the fraud, waste, and abuse to ensure that people who really need the money is going to get the money. The governor says it's not a lot of money. $4 billion is a lot of money. What happens if that's cut off from the state of Illinois? Can Illinois cover that? I highly doubt that. Look at the state's finances. I mean, the governor not too long ago said that there needs to be 4% reserves found in all state spending. And you've got the potential of hundreds of millions of dollars that the state's going to have to pay if it doesn't correct its SNAP error rate, and a whole host of other funding issues as well when it comes to the SNAP issue. So how all that's going to play out with a governor who's saying that they've cooperated in the past, and what about this new effort to try to root it out? And he says it's not a lot of money for an individual. It depends on, of course, the house and the household size and the individual's eligibility, but it's about $200 a month in some cases, less than that. But again, getting it to who needs it the most, right? I mean, that seems to be the effort from the Trump administration, is ensuring that they root out any fraud, waste, and abuse. But, the governor seeming to read between the lines here and talking about immigration reform when he's asked about SNAP benefits. Is that because Illinois is giving food subsidies to non-citizens? And how is the taxpayer, who is also somebody who may need SNAP benefits, feel about that? So we'll obviously be watching this closely, but it's not the only thing when it comes to your tax dollars and how they're used to subsidize others and create a so-called safety net. We've got this from Cook County, and this is the Cook County Promise Guaranteed Income Pilot. And this is something that apparently they're continuing now. So the Cook County Promise Guaranteed Income Pilot provided unconditional, no strings attached, $500 monthly cash payments to 3,200 low to moderate income families in Cook County for a period of 2 years. Cook County held an open application period between October and November of 2022, with payments starting going out in 2022 of December and December of 2024. And then they talk about how they had a program continue throughout the year, and now it looks like they're going to be moving forward with the program again, drawing Governor J.B. Pritzker's reaction after our reporter Jim Talamonte, the Center Square up in Chicago, asked him about guaranteed income. Is that going to be a focus that the state government's going to push forward with?
No.
Governor, you have thoughts on the program for Cook County?
Listen, I think that, you've heard the old expression that states are the laboratories of democracy, meaning, that states can try things out that ultimately sometimes end up being federal policy, something good. Municipalities and counties trying things out to see how they work, I think is not inappropriate. It's not a policy that we're looking at doing for the state of Illinois, but on the other hand, sometimes things that you don't imagine would work do. I haven't looked at the data, so I can't tell you whether the program is an effectual program. I am concerned. I think that we should be providing jobs for people so they can earn a good living, and the dignity of work really matters. And so I guess I would throw that into the question of, is a universal basic income type program going to work to give people the dignity that they want? Ultimately, though, what we want is to make sure that people have the basics that they need in life, right? A roof over their heads, the ability to buy the groceries that they need to survive.
So again, the governor being asked about that yesterday, and a potential opponent to the governor in the 2026 gubernatorial election, Ted Dabrowski, he put out this statement on X about the, quote, no strings attached guaranteed income program. He says Cook County's recent decision to continue its no strings attached guaranteed income program into 2026 is a prime example of reckless, misguided welfare, and the Pritzker administration helped make it possible. He said low-income residents under the program received $500 per month with no conditions, no work requirement for the able-bodied, and no citizenship requirement. The monthly payouts are disregarded when determined eligibility for other welfare programs. So if you're in this pilot program from Cook County, that doesn't count towards whether or not you get other subsidies. It's just on top of that. Thanks to the 2023 ruling by the Pritzker administration that money from Cook County's program isn't taken into account when determining state cash, SNAP, and medical eligibility. So they carved that out. That ideological ruling made the fair distribution of scarce resources to the needy impossible. Now, Dabrowski says he supports assistance for those who are temporarily down on their luck or unable to provide for themselves, but he says when he's governor, he will do all he can to make welfare programs trampolines that bounce those able to work back into the workforce. And he says that he will put citizens first. No more social welfare programs for illegal immigrants. Normalize government dependency, as Cook County's program clearly seeks to do, is destructive at a time when Illinoisans, especially in Cook County, are already reeling from huge tax increases. Our compassion must be directed to promoting real solutions like more jobs, better schools, and more economic opportunity, not blind bailouts or handouts. So there you go. You've got Ted Dabrowski chiming in on the guaranteed income program as well. Now, a conversation we had with a Democrat state legislator last week, Chicago Heights State Representative Anthony DeLuca, he says he's got a program, a bill that would look to curtail federal or state tax dollars from guaranteed income programs.
Yeah, I did file it's House Bill 60, and I didn't file this recently. This was from some time ago, and it would basically say that it would prohibit taxpayer money from being used for a guaranteed income program or a credit to provide an incentive, a financial incentive. So it would prohibit those type of programs, and it gets back to the same issue about managing tax dollars. People are paying a lot of money in property taxes, certainly in my area. Affordability is a huge issue. They feel like they're getting nickel and dimed by government at all levels, and when they see these type of guaranteed income programs, I'm hearing from my constituents a tremendous amount of concern. So what the bill does, it doesn't say you cannot have a guaranteed income program. You can have a guaranteed income program. You just can't use the taxpayer dollars to do so under my legislation.
I asked him if nonprofit groups would be able to do this.
Sure. And the unit of government could manage it.
So again, DeLuca has this bill. He's a Democrat. Can he get Republicans to sign off on it? Can he get enough Democrats to join Republicans and himself to get this thing across the finish line at the State House? We'll see if they come back in January, if this is going to be a priority he pushes, but clearly they're moving forward in Cook County with it, and the governor's kind of iffy, opponents saying heck no. So we'll see how this plays out. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for more from the Center Square.